Let's talk some Billy Bush. He was on Colbert last night talking about his op-ed that he wrote for the New York Times after Trump allegedly denied the tape was real. Here's some of his interview.
He, last week, for some reason, came out with, "That's not my voice" on the tape. Like I said, you can't say that. That is your voice. I was there. You were there. That's your voice on the tape. And what that does, though, is multiple. I told you about my own personal problem with it. But then you've got 20 women at the time. I don't know what the exact number is because there's more, but 20 women who used their names. We've got powerful people being held accountable now, and sometimes there's anonymous sources. All of these women came out with their names and told their detailed accounts. So when he said this, it infuriated me on the personal front, and then I ended up Googling and I read an article with all of these women's accounts, because when that article first came out, it was 13 days after I'd been fired, so I was in my own personal shock, fight or flight, and so I never really read it all the way. And as I read these, I said, 20 women don't get together and say, hey, you know, it'll be really fun, let's take down a powerful guy together. Ha ha. No, they don't. And their names are, and I said, okay, you're reopening wounds on them too. Enough's enough. Stop playing around with the people's lives. That upset me. So I wrote.
I thought it was a really powerful appearance. I think Billy did a really great job, very measured, you know, in how he responded to some of the questions. Colbert certainly didn't go easy on him. There was no pass kind of question. It was very much, you know, a real interview. And I mean, you see how much work Billy has done to be a better person and to really understand what these victims of sexual harassment have gone through. And he says, you know, they need to be believed right now. They need to be supported.
That was my favorite part of his article. I believe you. I believe you.
Yeah.
And what he's doing, bringing the accusers to the spotlight. If you read the op-ed in the New York Times, it's all about them.
Right.
I mean, I just saw Rachel Crooks over on CNN New Day. Their voices coming forward. It'll be interesting to follow that and see what happens now that these women are coming forward again and lending their voice. And as he said, there's so many anonymous sources. These are women that are coming forward with their names, which is completely courageous.
And like he said, how are these women getting together? They're not getting together and saying, let's bring down this powerful man. That's not what they do. Women putting themselves out there, that's a very difficult place to be in. Well, Billy was also asked about Matt Lauer, and he revealed that, that Matt told him that he tried to help him when it came to talking to the NBC bosses after the bus tape scandal.
On the Today Show, you had just been recently one of the co-hosts of the Today Show. Matt Lauer controlled that show. He could have protected anybody, and he did famously protect people from being fired on that show. Do you wish he would have protected you?
We had a conversation about that, and he told me that he went privately to the bosses and took that line, and I said I appreciated it and I accepted it and thanked him.
Okay, so
yeah,
you believe he did what he?
Yeah, I would have liked. I will say I would have liked the chance to have been able to address the audience that following Monday, but it was right after the debate, and I think the tape made it in time for the debate, so I didn't get that. I would have liked to have addressed the audience, but
I know that for a fact, and I know from talking to him when this all went down. That was such a big moment. Easy to look at where we are now and look back at that. And I think that everybody reacted so quickly. Nobody knew what to do. And if he was able to come on that morning and talk about what happened 12 years ago and his involvement, I think that everything could have played out differently.
This is a very important statement, I think, too. Too often there's a rush to judgment. And people are so quick to fire off their hatred. And how dare you? How dare you bring down this person? I think you need to stop and pause. And, you know, at that time, the country was, and it's still so divided. And, you know, that was leading up to the election. Now, the results of the election, I mean, it made all of that, you know, it just seems so, in a way, not worth the consequences of what happened.
And the rush to judgment is the worst. And then the takedown that I feel like people enjoy.
The
pylon, no matter who it is. I mean, we see this over and over. And so I would have liked if he could have been on air the next day. I think this whole thing would have gone down differently. But here's what he talks about. Here's what he says about being fired.
How do you feel about NBC firing you? Especially in light of Matt Lauer being fired for allegations of actual sexual impropriety.
I'm going to look. It was a difficult time. It was a difficult time. I think it was very hot emotionally in the country. A lot of people were not comfortable with the man who was close to winning the election, and a lot of things happened quickly. But my boss, months later, said publicly, I think we may have moved a little quickly.
Did they move on you like a bitch? Is that what they did?
I set myself up.
That reference to the tape, you know, where they had joked. They're like, what did he even mean by that? What was Trump saying when he used that statement? What does that mean?
About Nancy, I was like, I'm going to take her furniture shopping. And Billy had a great line. He's like, hey, an armoire.
Who could resist?
Who could resist? It was interesting to see because the topic is so serious.
Right.
And people are like, oh, he's doing this to bring a comeback. Of course he should be back on the air. Like, this is what he's great at doing. This is his talent. It's not a comeback. It's time to get back to work, everybody, the way I see it.
And he's working hard to do that. Yeah. He's trying to get there.
We're all flawed. Let's be nice. Everybody move on.